Let's go check. Damn, time fly. Where do the time go? I'm trying to figure it out why I'm letting this pine blow. I was just 16, ninth grade, rocking the J's. I'm 36 now, fuck, I'm starting to see grays. My life been a book, but it's a thrill, you turn the page.
What's up, everybody, man? It's your boy, Main Event K-Uso in the building, man. And today I got a very special treat for y'all today, man. See, I was able to dig up something and be able to make something happen. And today I have here a special guest on the Broken Dreams podcast, one of the main pioneers of the YouTube community in boxing, one of the best in the fight night community, one of the best in fight night champion in general. He's made a name for himself being a troll. He's made a name for himself being a YouTube sensation. He's made a name for himself being Mr. 100 and 0, Mr. Belt to Ass, Mr. I'm a motherfucking thug himself, none other than LX Sniper. I have been fortunate and grateful to be the first guy to interview Mr. LX Sniper himself. So if y'all new, make sure y'all subscribe, make sure y'all hit the like button, make sure y'all comment, and make sure y'all share and get everybody hip to it, cause we on top. We on up. We up next. Yeet. Let's go. Yo, what's the word, man?
What's going on, brother?
Nah.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm great, man. How about yourself, man?
Hey, can't complain, man. Just
Yeah.
living and enjoying life, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. It's a long time coming, man. Long overdue.
I
We finally
know.
here. We finally here.
We've been trying to get this joint set up for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But,
Hey, I appreciate you still coming over to the TikTok side, even though I know you very synonymous with the YouTube side. So I do want to take the time again and tell you thank you for being patient and being understanding to come over to my world on the streaming side. So yeah, I'm glad to have you on, man. Very
Hey,
glad.
man. Thank
Uh,
you, brother. I same thing. I'm glad you can be patient, work with me as I figure out TikTok because I do not use this platform at all. So it took a little getting used to, but now that I see how it works a little bit, I'm gonna be uploading more content to there. So,
oh yeah.
it's gonna be all good.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. So, first thing I want to ask off the bat, who is the man behind LX Sniper?
Who is the man behind LX Sniper? Well, there's a lot to him. There's a lot to the man behind LX Sniper. So, where do you want me to start?
Just from the basics, where you from? What was your childhood like? Just some of the basics, of your personal life, that you willing to dive into real quick. Just
Yeah,
small
sure.
things like that.
Sure. I grew up in the Bay Area, California Bay Area, and as far as my childhood was like, man, I had an amazing childhood. Grew up with my mother and my stepfather.
Hmm.
And what can I say? I grew up in an era where there was a lot of new things coming out real fast. I played a lot of boxing games when I was a kid. I played a lot of video games, period, when I was a kid. I grew up in the arcade scene. That was where I spent a lot of my time at as a kid. Playing things like Street Fighter 2,
Hmm.
um, Mortal Kombat, Virtual Fighter, Tekken, all the popular fighting games right now. I was there back when it first started back in the 90s, and arcade culture is a big thing to me, and even to this day, I still hang out with my friends in the arcades. We
Hmm.
play fighting games. We have a good time, and that's pretty much it. I've like I said, I grew up in the Bay Area. I've spent time in Vegas, Dallas, Texas, Albuquerque.
Hmm.
Been kind of all over the place. So right now I'm just enjoying my life right here out in Vegas, and just doing my thing.
Okay. So I remember, I wanted to ask you how different is being over here, and I remember in a video you at one point in time being in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. I wanted to
Hmm.
ask, what was the atmosphere like being, is it any different? How is it over there?
It's hot. It's hot in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
Mhm.
Out there, you'd be surprised that one of the greatest things that I like about TRC is I think it has the best water in the
Mhm.
entire country. It
Okay.
has really, really crystal clear spring, good clean spring water. A lot of people don't know that, but a lot of people use TRC as a tourist town because the water and the minerals that it has in the water has healing.
Mhm.
And so what people will do is they'll go get, massage baths, water baths out there, um, in the massage places in TRC. And it's a really friendly. It's a small town as you would expect, and but the people there are real friendly. If I had to describe it in one word, I would say it's a hippie town, if you so to speak. But their people here are friendly, and they're real cool.
Okay. All right. So did you like it out there at the time that you were out there? Was it okay? Was it not what you expected it to be when you were out there? Like,
Um, I mean, I didn't expect much, but
mhm,
with Truth or Consequences, mainly there's not really much to do in TRC, but
mhm,
a lot of people go to the city next door, which is Las Cruces,
mhm.
and Las Cruces is where all the action is.
Ah,
There's a nice bowling alley out there, arcades. Las Cruces is also a big college town too, so
mhm.
it's a lot of stuff going on out there. So I would say if you're in New Mexico, Truth or Consequences, you're not gonna find too much to do. Maybe you can come by and say hi to me, but other than that, you wanna where all the action is the next city over in Las Cruces.
Cool. So another thing I wanted to ask you about, is what made you a boxing fan? Well, do you have a specific moment where you kind of fell in love with boxing, or was that just
Yeah.
something that everybody watched around when you were growing up? Is that something that everybody watched when you were growing up, or did you happen to just catch it, and just be like, okay, I like this, and the fight just made you fall in love? A specific one in
Mm,
general?
that's a good question, brother. Well, it goes back to the 80s actually, as far as when I started to fall in love with boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a fan of boxing since a very, very young age. And I would say it started off with Mike Tyson's Punch Out, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
That was the very first boxing game that I played when I was a kid, and that's what started it all. And as far as boxing is concerned, watching Mike Tyson in his prime in the 80s just knocking motherfuckers out left and right,
Mm-hmm.
I was a fan. I was a fan from that point on. So
Yeah.
I would say Mike Tyson was the reason why I started watching boxing,
Mm-hmm.
and then later on, I got into the other fighters during that era, like Roy Jones Jr., Oscar De La Hoya, who's my favorite, which was one of my favorite eras of boxing, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Julio Cesar Chavez, George Foreman, man, Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis, all the heavyweights back in that time. It was just a real good time to be a fan, and I watched all of them, all the big heavyweight fights in the '90s. That's the time that I grew up becoming a boxing fan, and even still to this day, I love the sport, and I'll always love the sport of boxing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I don't know if you can see the comment section. I got a friend named Kung Fu Kenny. He said that Tommy Hearns got him into being a boxing fan. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So do you have like a Mount Rushmore of your favorite boxer who you feel like is the greatest of all time? It doesn't matter like from different eras or technical boxers, brawlers. it can be so much when it comes like the Mount Rushmore of anything. So I just wanted to ask, who is your Mount Rushmore of boxing?
Mm, that's a good question. Good question. Um, how many is that? Four?
Mm-hmm.
Four boxers? Okay. So, my number one, my favorite boxer of all time is Oscar De La Hoya.
Mm-hmm.
So I would put him in my number one spot. And then Bernard Hopkins would be my number two. Um, Floyd Mayweather, number three.
Mm-hmm.
And number four, I would go with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson would
Okay,
be number
okay.
four.
So while we on the subject of Floyd, I want to know what are your thoughts about the criticism that he gets as far as how he eventually adapted to breaking his hand and becoming more defensive, and a lot of people disliking the option to be able to just in their case run. What is your take on that? What do you feel like the hate is deserved, or do you feel like they have a something that could be talked about? Like, is it something that's value? How can I put it? Like, is it worthy to talk about? Is it something that you could be like, oh yeah, I see where you coming from, or do you feel like nah, it's just part of the game? What do you think?
Um, well, I don't think the hate towards Mayweather is deserved. And honestly, Floyd Mayweather won. He won at life, if you ask
Mm,
me, because he did what he had to do in order to build the Money Mayweather persona,
mm-hmm.
and it worked. I mean, he got paid millions and millions and millions of dollars. So if you love him or you hate him, people
Mm,
watched, and that's something that I think that's something that a lot of boxers took from. Even I use a lot of things from elements from the Floyd Mayweather playbook on my own
mm,
YouTube content because he knows how to sell a fight, and he also knows how to make people hate him just enough to watch him want to lose. And the fact that Floyd did not lose any professional fight all the way up until the beginning of his career until he retired, like, man, you got to salute that. And as far as Floyd as a boxer, I mean, he was just so crisp. His counterpunch is so sharp, even to this day. He's one of the best that ever do it. And it's gonna take a long time. I kind of feel like he's in the well, yeah, I say it. I think he's kind of in the Jordan category as far as GOAT
mm,
category. I put him up there. The only thing is that Michael Jordan's well loved, whereas Floyd, he's got his fans, but during his career, man, he people love to hate him, but
mm-hmm.
people there was fight parties, there was packed arenas, ticket prices, gates, booming. What he did for boxing. There's a lot of things that he did that I think was good for boxing, and then there's some negatives too. But overall, man, you can't hate on the fact that dude got his money,
Yeah,
and
I feel
that,
like
that's that's all you can ask for.
not a lot of people like really. I feel like a lot of people are so focused on the hate for Floyd that they don't give him credit from being Pretty Boy Floyd. I feel like Pretty
Yeah,
Boy Floyd is one of the crazy enough it
nice
may
with it.
come out of my mouth, one of the most underrated boxers of all, like of all time, in my opinion. I feel like not
Hmm.
enough people talk about Pretty Boy Floyd. They look at the aspect of he runs too much.
Yep.
He's scared to fight people when they was in their prime. He waited till they were past their prime or whatever the case may be. I feel like not a lot of people really give him the credit that he deserves as far as being Pretty Boy Floyd before the hand injury. And
Yeah.
it's crazy how like even with me being a casual fan getting into the world of boxing, I feel like it's just highly criminal for him to be getting so much hate and not respected for what he did in his early time as Pretty Boy Floyd. It's kind of wild.
Yeah. That fight that he had with what's his name, Diego Corrales, I
Right. Yeah.
think was one of the best performances of his career. You know, the way he just beat the brakes off of old boy, and he was never really the same since, and that was during his Pretty Boy era, and
Mm-hmm.
and not just that fight, but just in general, he was knocking motherfuckers out too.
Yeah.
Pretty Boy Floyd, like to your point, his hand speed and his pressure. He was more of a pressure fighter back then, and,
Mm-hmm.
and he was getting folks up out of there. And I think you are right. I agree with you that, I mean, Pretty Boy Floyd, that era of his career was way underrated, because
Mm-hmm.
he was nice with it. I still think that version of Floyd Mayweather beats all 135 pounders today, including Tank and all the rest of those boys.
Yeah. We recently just lost the late great Ricky Hatton. I wanted to
Yeah.
ask, what was your feeling when you found out the news about that?
Well, Ricky Hatton and the reason why I started to become a fan of Ricky the Hitman Hatton is because, just to take it all the way back, was the first thing the reason why he became the reason why he had the nickname that he did, Hitman. Are you familiar with where that came from? Why he calls
I,
himself the Hitman?
I'm not. I will. I have to check out what it was about that why he was named that. But could you give me some insight?
Sure. So the reason why he called himself the Hitman is because of Bret the Hitman Hart, who's
Mm.
also my favorite pro wrestler of all time. So the fact that Ricky Hatton and I had that in common, we're both big, huge Bret Hart fans, and with Ricky Hatton being such a great inside pressure brawler fighter,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think that that he was just a crowd pleasing guy, and my heart really goes out to everybody in England, in the UK, for the loss of Ricky Hatton. I'm not sure what the cause of death was. I don't know if it was a self-inflicted death, but it's just one of those. If it is, it's just one of those things that people need to be very mindful of their mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure, if you're in a dark place, reach out to a friend, get therapy, something, because Ricky Hatton was beloved so much by people here in the States, but especially those in the UK. When I remember when he had fought Mayweather in Vegas. I
Mm-hmm.
want to say it was about 10 or 20,000 people came from the UK to cheer Ricky Hatton on. And honestly, it didn't feel like a fight that was happening in the States. It felt like he was in his own country because of the support, the overwhelming support that Hatton had from the UK. So, long story short, man, boxing had a huge loss with Ricky Hatton. It was so unexpected, um, so tragic. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he was getting ready to do a comeback fight too. And
Yeah, yeah, I
so,
heard. Yeah, it was like in December or something like that. If I
yeah,
wasn't mistaken, it was like back over in December.
yeah, I think it was December, mm, and just the fact that he announced his comeback, and that happened. It's just like, damn. It kind of reminds me of Michael Jackson when that
Mm-hmm.
happened. You know, Michael Jackson announced his comeback tour,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't even get to fulfill it because he died. And you know, Ricky
Yeah,
Hatton, and what he meant to the UK. Oh my God, I can only just imagine how they feel over there. And my heart really goes out to all the UK fans,
yeah,
and
same.
Ricky Hatton's family.
Same. Um, I want to now lean more into like when was LX Sniper the character born?
Oh man, that's a good question. It goes back a lot farther than people think.
Mm-hmm.
The LX Sniper character actually goes back as far as the message board days on a website. Some of you might know it. It's called N4G, called News for Gamers. and I used to make posts on there all the time. It became very, very well known. One of the most well known posters on N4G during that time, and that was around the PS3 Xbox 360 console war. Um, During that time period, so it would have been around uh 2007,
Mm-hmm.
2000, yeah, around 2007 is when the character started. Um, and my post history is still there for anybody who wants to see it. But yeah, that's where it really started, and then where it evolved when it evolved to what it became today, with which what you guys know as the LX sniper character. That was about 2013,
Mm-hmm.
2014. I'll say about 2013 is when the LX sniper character came about. That's when I started making content. I didn't start off with Fight Night at first,
Mm-hmm.
but I was doing mainly John Madden football trash talking, NBA 2K trash talking, and then my one of my best friends, shout out LX Chaos, shout out to you. He was like, you should do Fight Night, and I was like, but when he made the suggestion, this was like around, I don't know, 2015, 16 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I would love to do Fight Night, but Fight Night's on the Xbox 360, and we were already on Xbox One and PS4 at that time. So
Mm-hmm.
I told him, I was like, if Microsoft or PlayStation they ever make Fight Night Champion backwards compatible with the current gen consoles at that time, then I would do it. And then sure enough, one day I wake up one morning, I catch a video by Showbiz the adult. Shout out to Showbiz.
Shout out to
Um,
Showbiz.
yeah, yeah. And I saw a video by him saying that Fight Night Champion was available on Xbox One, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh shit. And it's funny because I had just put my Xbox One in the closet because I wasn't playing it anymore.
Okay.
And as soon as I saw that, that news from and watched that video from Showbiz, I got the Xbox out of the closet and then started recording content. And
Mm-hmm.
as they say, the rest is history.
Okay. Diving into, you know, what made you want to become a content creator and a YouTuber? Did you see it taking off the way that it did?
Um, well, yes and no. I've had my influences, and I would say I've started doing video editing at around 2006, 2007 is when I
Mm-hmm.
started editing videos, and I got serious about it around 2013, 14. And as far as, what YouTube could become, it wasn't really a thing for me until I saw James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first person, one of my first inspirations to, to say that, okay, well, you can put on a persona and make it funny and make it entertaining
Mm-hmm.
and be pissed off and unhinged at the same time, and people will love it. So, I really do think the roots of the character LX Sniper, as far as, what I say and all the crazy stuff and the
Mm-hmm.
cinematography and the acting that comes directly from watching a lot of Angry Video Game Nerd. Without him and what he's done, I feel like he's paved the way for so many gaming YouTubers to this day. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, I can't state enough how huge of an inspiration he was to me. And he's one, and another one that was a huge inspiration to me was Hip Hop Gamer. Um, Hip Hop Gamer is one of those guys who stuck with the vision no matter what. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Hip Hop Gamer, but
Yeah, I've
he
heard
was
about him. Yeah,
he
I've
he
heard.
he he was one of the very first black content creators to, how do I put it? He made his way into a space into a realm where we, and by we, this is what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
where we weren't really that prevalent in. And
Right.
being able to have interviews with, people at Microsoft, having interviews with Sony executives and Nintendo executives, and getting the new latest news and scoops on, gaming news back at the time. And he was the actually the very first person that actually gave me an interview. And this was back in the late 2000s. So shout out to Hip Hop Gamer. Without what
Hmm.
he did and how he paved the way for us as black content creators, we wouldn't be here where we are today. So I
Yes.
look at him as a pioneer and a legend in this space. So yeah, shout out to Hip Hop Gamer, man. That's
Yeah.
that's another huge influence of mine.
For sure, and I most definitely got to show my respects to him as well, because without him, I might not be here as well. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So yeah, most definitely shout out to you. Thank you for paving the way for us. You know, for us black people to be able to do what we do today. Thank you.
Yep. Yep.
So, what was your initial reaction to seeing like, okay, oh shit, my videos are starting to pay off. Oh shit, I'm starting to get a lot of viewers. A lot of people are fucking with my videos, whether it's good or bad. When did that start to come? When did you see it start to take off? And
Um,
what was your initial reaction when you started to see it was taking off?
yeah, good question. My reaction at first, once I realized it started to take off, was it's about damn time. It's about damn time because I put in a lot of work behind the scenes on,
Mhm.
learning how to edit videos, the mistakes made, and
Mhm.
the process and the journey that it takes to really find your niche. And so for me, that very moment that it started to happen was when that 471 video happened. I think
Mhm.
it's almost at 2 million views,
Yes.
close
Yes.
to that or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, when that video started to take off, and I think it was at like 100,000 or something like that. I was like, oh shit! And then I started to get more and more subscribers. Like subscribers just started rolling in, and that's when I realized, okay, I've got something here. That was a very very important. It's the most important video of that I've ever made,
Mhm.
and I would say, yeah, when that video dropped is when I realized, okay, we're on to something here, and
Mhm.
that was it too. And then another thing too is just seeing how people acted at first when I was fighting on my main account on Fight Night.
Mhm.
People was like, "Oh shoot, it's you, it's LX Sniper." People were backing out of the game because they was like, "Oh, I don't want to get put on YouTube." And at that time, I think I only had like maybe like 600 subscribers back
Mhm.
then. And so, for me, my goal as far as a YouTuber is concerned is I only was trying to get 1,000 subscribers. I said to myself,
Wow.
if I can get at least 1,000 subscribers, then I made it.
Right, and you're sitting at almost forty
Almost 40.
thousand
Yeah.
subscribers right now. Like, so were you like joyed to see like, oh my gosh, this shit is really paying off. Like this shit, it's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
did it get overwhelming at a point in time? Like, wow, the support I'm getting, is like wow. I don't know how to feel right now. What was it like for you?
No, I wouldn't say it was overwhelming,
Mm-hmm.
but I do know that, one thing that I realized real quickly that on YouTube is that you can tell when your channel is growing and you're onto something by the amount of hate comments you get, or at least that I was getting. Because
Mm-hmm.
I was getting very, very harsh and aggressive hate comments, which I still get to this day, but it's a lot less now than it was when I first started. Tying it back to the Money Mayweather character, as you were saying, I would say that I definitely can't compare. I'm not in Floyd's shoes by no means, but
Mm-hmm.
I did get that a a a pretty large amount of hate thrown my direction once my channel started to pick up. And once I realized that, that's when I realized I knew I was on to something because, they say if you ain't got haters, you're not popping.
Yeah,
And
exactly, exactly. So do you feel like the hate mainly came from you being basically again? I like to say this because from I've been a fan. Is it because they feel like you're the 50 Cent of Fight Night champion? And I only say that because you're a pioneer of the game. You know what I'm saying? You brought a lot of eyes to the game. A lot of people know you. You get a lot of love, even with being gone. You still get a lot of love. But people know you from trolling. You know what I'm saying? People
hmm
know you for the toxic nature, that you bring to the game, the shit talking and the constant shitting on people when you put belt to ass. Do you feel like that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons you got a lot of hate coming
Hell
into?
yeah, that's definitely one of the reasons. You know, that's definitely one of the reasons. And I do think that I present, or at least I try to present a very unique product that you can't get anywhere else. And because of that, there's been some people that didn't agree with how I did things.
Hmm.
And there was very popular YouTubers that came to my channel, some in the UFC space. I'm not going to name any names, but
Hmm.
um the most popular YouTuber, UFC YouTuber, and I'm pretty sure you guys will know who I'm alluding to, gave me a comment that said that I will not make it and I won't last on YouTube.
Mm.
And that I didn't agree with that comment, and I still don't agree with that comment, and I took it personal. And that was one of the motivating factors for me to step my game up, double down on what I do, and you know, give love me or hate me, you're gonna watch. And that's all that matters to me is that you watch. And so, as far as haters is concerned, to be honest with you, bro, I need to get back on my grind and make more content because I haven't gotten any new haters in a while. So um, I need to go make some new content, and I've got plenty of videos in the vault. So don't you guys worry. I've got plenty of it in the vault. So
Hmm.
it's time for me to get some new haters. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Time to get some new haters.
And it's crazy you said that because I most definitely was gonna ask you, when will we ever, when will we get a LX sniper return? When do you
Man,
think he'll come back?
sooner than later. And the only reason why I don't put a definitive date on it is because the reason why I've not been making content lately is because my PC is pretty much kaput, man. So
Hmm.
I need to get my PC fixed or get a new PC. And once that's done, I'll be back in action.
Cool, cool, cool. So I wanted to talk about for people who don't know, who's just now getting into Fight Night Champion, because we still get about at least 1,900 people on a good day, right? And
Yeah,
I wanted to
more
talk
than
about
undisputed.
it. Yeah, yeah. I wanted to talk about like the toxicity of fight night and what it led to for you and what it could lead to for the guys that don't know the behind the scenes of what we go through in Fight Night Champion. I wanted you to talk a little bit about just people being toxic in general as far as this game goes.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I would say Fight Night Champion and me go together like peanut butter and jelly because, I like to talk shit and, I embrace the toxicity, right?
Hmm.
The toxicity is I think, I don't know how many people will admit to it, but, I think the toxicity of Fight Night Champion, I don't know if we're all masochistic in that
Hmm.
sense, but, we come for the toxicity, or at least I know I do.
Hmm.
Of course, I come in to play and I love and enjoy the game, but Fight Night Champion, to those who are on the outside looking in and don't understand it, or looking to understand it better, um, that's what makes Fight Night Champion great is the toxicity. I think the only other game that I know that is just as toxic or maybe a little more toxic than Fight Night is NBA 2K.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty toxic over there too, but Fight Night is unique in the sense that it's a realistic boxing game.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not how I put this when you're playing against somebody in a one it's a one-on-one setting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're actually punching people in the face. This isn't like a fighting game like, Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat where you're teleporting, freezing people, shooting fireball. No, you're
Mm-hmm.
actually throwing punches, duking it out, and with the level of strategy. And I think with that, what that does, or it brings out the worst in people because it almost feels like you're actually in a real actual fight.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I think EA has done, and in my opinion, it enables. EA enabled the toxicity by doing this, but things like the triple replay when you get knocked down, having to sit there, having to sit there and watch yourself get knocked the fuck out 3 times over, and you can't do nothing about it but eat that.
True.
And so just little things like that that people cannot stand to happen in fight night, and it just brings the worst out of people, especially when you getting your ass kicked in fight night and somebody's just taunting you, rubbing it in. Like it's orgasmic for me whenever I'm in my zone and I'm taunting and doing the same things as
Mm-hmm.
it's great. It's great to unleash that toxicity on people, and the the fight night community I wouldn't have it any other way.
Right.
The fight night community is unhinged, it's unfiltered. I think it's one of the last few unfiltered communities there is, because there's no official esports from scene from it because of the age. It's such an old game, but the community has been there. They're not going anywhere. If anything, it's grown, and it's continued to grow since YouTube, since Fight Night Champion became more prevalent on YouTube. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's in a good place. The only thing we're waiting for is for EA to drop a new damn game.
Yeah. Do you feel like EA will eventually just say, okay, I think we can get the money and make a new boxing game, or do you think they're over with the boxing game because it's too hard to get fighters to sign over?
Well, I don't know. I don't think it's hard for them to get fighters to sign. If anything, I think Steel City Interactive exposed EA in the sense that, they showed that you can get high profile fighters like Terrence Crawford or Canelo Alvarez or some others. Um, I don't know what the reason is EA won't do a fight night. I've heard, I've got insider sources myself that have said that EA is interested and is working on a new boxing game, and I've
Mm-hmm.
even also heard that Floyd Mayweather is supposed to be the cover athlete of the new Fight Night boxing games, from what my insider sources have told me. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just it. It's rumors. I
Right.
don't like dealing with rumors. I like to deal with absolutes. And right now, as far as I know, we're not any closer to a new Fight Night game than we were, 14 years ago, or however long it's been since Fight Night Champion came out. So I don't know. I really do hope that EA does make another one. I know that they're working on a new skate game. They brought that back, and then they've brought back the college football games, and they tried to bring back college basketball, but
Right.
2K blocked that. But so it does show that EA is at least revisiting their older IPs, and it's a travesty that they have not revisited Fight Night, because Fight Night, like, we're waiting, man, we're waiting for a brand new fight night game. We've been waiting, and I'm telling you, if EA would just do the right thing and stop drip feeding us, with more UFC games and just buckle down and
Hmm.
do another boxing game, I can't wait.
Yeah, I agree.
My for me personally, my YouTube channel I think would benefit greatly with a new fight night game because it gives me new content to make. So,
Hmm.
you know, um I do think that as far as my channel is concerned, one of the reasons why I went so hard on Fight Night is because I wanted to do, use my influence or do what I can to help, EA, influence and convince EA to say, hey, there's an audience for this game still. Please make another one. And so I I feel, two ways about it, honestly. I do feel that, I I do think that we as a community have done a great job showing EA, by the numbers of viewership that Fight Night Champion gets, not just from my channel, but from other channels as well and other UFC creators too who've dabbled in the game. They're still making Fight Night Champion videos to this day. So, even, so for anybody that's doing those types of videos, keep them up.
Yeah.
Fight Night Champion needs all the attention and viewership it can get, and
Hmm.
for me, uh, it's bittersweet in the sense that the numbers show that we're still there, but a part of me feels like I failed in terms of getting us a new boxing game because it ain't here yet. So
Right.
there's more to do. There's more to do.
Cool. I wanted to talk to you about as far as you know your relationship with some people. Some of the Fight Night go legends like Fight Night's Finest, Malky Pablo. Like I wanted you, to get a little insight of if you were able to, talk to them personally, like we're doing now,
Oh
and
yeah.
how did you guys get to, be real tight, because I've seen you in your video show all of them so much love, and
Mhm.
those guys are now retired from Fight Night. Um,
Mhm.
I wanted to get just a little bit of insight about your relationship with those guys, in general. How did
Yeah,
that come
yeah. I don't know. I don't think Fight Night's Finest is retired from Fight Night. I know he's doing more undisputed content,
about?
and he had a chance to go out to Vegas for the Undisputed Creators event, which was pretty awesome, and I'm very
Mm-hmm.
very happy for him.
Yeah.
Um, Fight Night's Finest, my relationship with him, I'm so blessed and thankful to know him on a personal level because before I even started making Fight Night YouTube videos, he's the main Fight Night YouTuber I watched. He's
Mm-hmm.
my favorite. He's my goat.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to, content creation on YouTube for Fight Night, that's my goat right there.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched so many of his videos and he's helped me out so much to get better at the game. And when I had the honor and privilege to actually fight him in the digital ring, um, I say that, even though I did not win the fight, I came away with so much knowledge and I leveled up in so many elements of my game because I fought someone like Fight Night's Finest. So,
Mm-hmm.
salute to that brother, man. Love you, bro. I'm glad to see you doing your thing, and much love to you.
For
And
sure.
as far as Malky, I don't know if I don't think he's played Fight Night in a long time, but
Yeah.
but with Malky, how that relationship came about is he reached out to me one day, saying he loved the content. He's always been very professional, very nice, very pleasant, and I've known about the mystery. He's kind of a mystique. He's kind of got a mysterious aura around him as
Mm-hmm.
far as people him putting belts to ass to people. So I always heard the name Malky Pablo, Malky Pablo, Malky Pablo. He's the goat. He's the goat. He's the goat. Um, and I would agree with that. I do agree that he's the best fighter I've ever fought against.
Mm-hmm.
And And I'm just such a fan of his style. Like,
Yeah.
even when I watch my fights, even like every time I watch a Malky Pablo fight, I just get so fanboyed out because of his clean jabs to the body, or his
Mm-hmm.
clean footwork, or his clean counterpunching. And even in the match that he fought against me, I'm over here. He's over here beating my ass. I'm like, oh, Malky Pablo with the jab to the body on me. Oh, and I was like, wait a minute, he's doing that to me. I can't be getting excited about this. Uh, but yeah, with Malky Pablo though, another reason why I was such a big fan of his is I used to watch a lot of his videos where his dad would be in his corner, literally
Mm-hmm.
sitting behind him, giving him coaching and giving him tips on on how to beat his opponent. And sadly, Malky's father passed away a few years ago,
Oh,
so rest in peace
rest
to
in peace.
to
Yes.
Malky Senior. But
Thanks.
it was great to see that video and that father son bonding that was going
Mm-hmm.
on. And it reminds me of Floyd Mayweather Senior coaching his son Floyd Mayweather Junior. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a real unique and cool thing to see. And man, again, Marky's defense and the way he plays, it's just so crisp, so smooth. And yeah, I'll always be a fan of that style. And that's really the gist of what those two cats. I have so much respect for them and what they've done for the fight night community, because they've been here long before I showed up to the scene.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some OGs and some original goats that deserve their flowers.
Exactly. While we on the topic of Malky Pablo, I want to talk to you about the video with Milky Pablo. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that situation. I just wanted to, touch bases on how was you how did you feel initially when he basically tried to water down a goat like Malky and be the way that he was when you exposed him for the fraud that he was. So you want to talk to me about that?
Yeah. Oh man. That guy. How do I put this? Um uh in the fight night community, in really any community, but especially the fight night community, there are people that will work very, very hard for clout and attention and do
Mm-hmm.
not care how they do it or how they get it. Even if it's just 5 to 15 minutes of fame, people, in my opinion, will sell their souls for a little bit of clout. And Milky Pablo is one of those guys. He was a character, to say the least. It started off with him sending threats, bribing me and blackmailing me, saying, I'm gonna upload the footage of me knocking you out if you don't post it on your channel within 5 days. And
Mm-hmm.
saying a whole bunch of stuff to try to get my attention. And apparently, he also reached out to Malky Pablo as well, but I don't think a fight between them materialized. And he just kept poking the bear. And eventually, I was able to find him online. And you know that video that's on my channel happened. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, I was just so happy that I could fucking shut him up, because even to this very day, he has sent messages to my DMs, long 20-page messages
Wow.
to my DMs, yeah. And I don't even respond to him, because I don't ever have no intention of fighting him again, because the
Mm-hmm.
job is finished. I beat his ass, I uploaded it to YouTube, I made my money, and off to the next one. But,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't want to sit with that L. He shouldn't have rage quit, you know.
Yeah.
He and to top it all off, and this is for Milky Pablo, if you're watching. I beat you with Tommy Hearns, bro. Tommy the Hitman Hearns, and you had 96 overall Sugar Ray Robinson, the best character in the game, and I had an 89 overall fighter. So, yeah. you still got your ass kicked. So you gotta hold that forever. I don't want a rematch, and I don't care how much money is offered on the table. The answer is always gonna be no. Fuck you.
Um, is there so speaking of, you know, people like Milky Pablo, I wanted to also touch bases with clout chasers that wants to just make a name for themselves using your name.
Mhm.
People such as Re-Up Ricky. I want to start with him,
Ha.
and then
That.
we gonna later get into the situation with Maddox Small.
Mhm.
So I want to talk to you about what's going on with Re-Up Ricky first.
I barely know who he is. Um, I know that he came into the to the scene with Undisputed coming around, saying that Undisputed was the best boxing game of all time, and and started to get a little bit of traction on that on his channel, and he started to lean into it a bit, and by that he started to ingratiate himself into the community, but um, I don't even think that he's making videos anymore. I don't think he's making undisputed videos, if I'm not mistaken. He's just another flash in the pan person. I think he was a grifter, just trying to grift off the hard work that the others in the boxing community had done before him. He said a lot of he put out a lot of lip service, and by that what I mean is he was supposed to have some special challenge for LX Sniper
Mm-hmm.
in February. That video never came out. I was waiting. I was waiting to hear what this fool had to say, but it never happened. So I would have loved to. For some reason, he thought that he could challenge me to Fight Night Champion, which would have been a bad idea for him. Um, but it wasn't even just me, but it's other people in the community that he was doing things and making putting their heads on the thumbnails. He did that to me. He did that to the brother I Game you watch.
Yeah.
And he did it to another brother that I'm also a big fan of in the community, Lazy Gamer.
Ah,
He's been.
yes. Oh my goodness, Lazy Gamer. That's the guy. That's the homie right
Yeah,
there.
he's been grinding. And shout out to you, brother. He finally crossed over the 1,000 subs, and my
Mm-hmm.
God, he earned it. He's been streaming, Fight Night every day in those trenches. And when I saw the back and forth between Re-Up Ricky and Lazy Gamer, I was like, man, I'm willing to bet on that fight. Lazy Gamer will beat the shit out of that Re-Up Ricky cat because Lazy Gamer, he's the person that put the time in to get better, and
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't appreciate Rhea Ricky thinking he could just jump into this community and skip the line, if you
Right.
will. um before you even get to fighting me, man, you ain't gonna beat Lazy Gamer. Lazy Gamer would have beat the shit out of him, and I was ready to see it. I was ready to watch, but I personally think that he was probably trying to record content for Fight Night or Undisputed or whatever, and got his ass beat so bad, and you know discouraged him from playing those games again. So good riddance.
So let's touch bases with the Matic Smile issue, because not only you having that problem, but I've also had that problem with Matic Small, and you know, I just wanted to talk and let everybody know in the Fight Night community, touch bases with him being such not only a clout chaser and a troll, but it's now getting to a point where he'll stalk. And
Hmm.
I mean, my thing is like, we get that you want to make a name for yourself, but it's a way about going. It's a way about doing things, handling it. So I wanted to get your insight on Maddox Smile and the cloud chasing issue with him, because he gets a lot of hate on Reddit about cloud chasing. Like, okay, you don't want to fight LX. That's not, he's gonna knock you out. Y'all, you need to stop cloud chasing. But he continues and insists to keep on bringing your name up. What do you got to say about that?
He's been clout chasing me for years. Um, that's what it's about. He had a little YouTube channel that he's trying to get traction on, and the best way to get traction is to call out me, and it's not just me. Other YouTubers, I'm sure, and content creators and such as yourself as well, have said that, you've had your interactions with him.
Yeah.
The thing that I don't like about, him and other clout chasers like him is that they lie. They will say anything. They'll say anything to get the attention and to get people on their side without even understanding what really happened. And where I'm going with that is that, I guess he beat a few people in the Reddit community and he started to call me out. He slid into my DMs talking mad trash, just mad trash, and it comes about, and he came out and said in public saying that I ducked him, which is so far from the truth.
Hmm.
Um, in the DMs, I said, if you want to fight me so bad, number one, let's fight for money. Let's fight for money. People think that I'm joking. Like whenever I say people, people ask, I want to fight you, and I always say, pay the fee and you gotta fight.
Hmm.
People think that I'm trolling when I say that, but I'm dead ass serious. People want to fight me, just pay me. You
Right.
pay me and I'll show up. If people pay me the asking price, then I'll stop what I'm doing right now and go cut on Fight Night Champion and fight someone.
Hmm.
But Maddox Small is broke. He's a broke bum, and he couldn't afford what I was asking him for.
Right.
And and you know what? I'll tell you what. And I took it even further because this is how the conversation went. I said, okay, you want to fight me so bad? Okay, we can do it. Let's fight. Let's do the fight on Gamer Saloon, right?
Hmm.
And for those who don't know, Gamer Saloon is a fight where, I mean, excuse me, a website where you can make bets. You can play for money. Play any games for money, whether it be, Madden, 2K, Call of Duty, FIFA, whatever. And
Hmm.
Fight Night is one of those games. And so I said, okay, well, let's fight for money. And he was like, no, I'm in Nevada and we can't gamble in our state, which I found that at first I thought he was lying. Honestly, I was
Hmm.
like, "How the hell are you gonna be in Nevada and you can't gamble? Like, what? That's that's ludicrous." But I did my research and I did come to find out that he was telling the truth. That
Hmm.
you know, you can't play Gamer Saloon online in Nevada, which to me is crazy.
Yeah.
But um, but anyway, so I said, okay, fine. We can play offline. I'll meet you in Vegas. I told him, the times and dates that I'd be in Nevada, and
Hmm.
at that time, I was like, I'll be in Vegas. Let's make it happen. We can make it happen offline.
Hmm.
And he just ran his mouth and ran in circles, and it didn't materialize into anything. And the reason why I was so specific as far as wanting to fight him in person is because I do believe that he's not a fair fighter.
Hmm.
Um, I don't want to reveal what, because I don't want to open any can of worms. But
Right.
I will say that I do think that he was cheating by using pre-programmed combos with controller scripts.
Hmm.
And if the 2K community probably knows where I'm going with this. If you play 2K,
Hmm.
uh, people use what they call Cronus Zens. And I in my heart of hearts believe watching Maddox Small's content that
Hmm.
he was one of those types of players. And I still think that I could beat him even with the cheating device because I'm
Right.
just that damn cold. But,
Hmm.
you know, I want it to be a fair fight between everybody. And I don't think he was willing to do that. So, what he did was is he basically took the interaction that we had and just ran with it on Reddit. You know, making 100 threads about me, calling me a duck and things like that, without actually telling the whole story
Right.
of what happened. If he would have came to me with the money, then I would have gladly fought him, but again, he's a broke bum who needs to shut the fuck up and go get his money up instead of, you know, worrying about me. Because let me tell you something. Hold on a second.
Gotcha.
See, the fight night communities paid me well. All right. Fight
Hmm.
night, this is all from fight night.
Oh wow.
You know what I'm
Blessings.
saying? Like when it comes to fighting for the bread, Maddox Small, I got mines right here. Where's your bread, motherfucker? Where's your bread? I got my money. All you got to do is come to the table. You
Mm,
hear me?
mm. Well, Maddox, this video will be uploaded to YouTube, so you being called out, the money's there. Set it up, and stop running your mouth. Stop trying to clout chase. It's here in the
Pay
flesh.
me. Pay me.
Pay that
That's
man what
all
you
I need.
owe him. Let's get it. Let's get that fight going.
You want the clout so bad, you pay for it. You get what you pay for. You want clout, you'll get it. You might not like at what was going to happen afterwards, but at least I'm going to get paid.
So I wanted you to talk about the haters that
Mhm.
that still may be on Reddit or anybody else that still talk shit, you know, that still refuse to put respect on your name, even though you were one of the pioneers of fight night of the fight night community in general. What like, I want to know what do you got to say to the haters in general that still don't want to give you
Um,
respect?
you know, I'll say that, the fans outweigh the haters. And, I don't pay attention to them as much because I get so much overwhelming support from the fans that, it speaks for itself. The haters, they have a job to do, which is hate. And, that's what I need them there for.
Hmm.
Play your part, haters. Continue to hate on me, and the rest is gonna take care of itself because like I said, the more you hate on me, the more I get paid. All right? The more I get paid. See all this? This is from you. This is what getting hate gets me to the bank to get paid because I am the cash cow. So, keep hating on me all you want to. All you're going to do is just take me to the bank again and again and again. I got checks to deposit. So, hey, keep hating on me. I love it. I love it.
That's one way to most definitely make a statement as far as that goes. I want to touch bases with you as well as far as me hitting you up probably a couple months back on Discord, and speaking of the hate side, we're gonna go on to the other side where you was just talking about the support. How does it
Mhm.
feel to still get a lot of support and somebody, people being on somebody like Lux Live? Shout out to Lux Vision. He's
Yeah.
doing his thing. He's just now, he's probably about a year in into being
Mhm.
like a fight night player and already gets a lot of love. So shout out to Lux Vision, and everybody coming on his stream and showing you love in the comment section, and I wanted to ask you, how does that feel, and can we possibly see like a collab with you and Lux Vision, and a collab with also you and Lay's Gamer? Is
Mhm.
that in a possibility for the future?
That shout out to Lux Vision. Lux Vision's been doing his thing. I've popped into a few of his streams, and he's doing his thing, and I'm proud of him, and proud of Lazy Gamer and all the other Fight Night content creators that have come in and have made their mark. Because again, it's about Fight Night Champion. It's
Mm.
bigger than me. It's bigger than any singular content creator. It's about pushing the scene forward, and by anybody making content for this game, especially with it being so old. It really means a lot, and again, it shows that to EA Sports, we're still here. So to answer your question, as far as Lux Vision, yes, I would definitely be open to a collab with him and Lazy Gamer. In fact, I've told Lazy Gamer, we definitely need to do a fight. I've been wanting to fight him for quite some time now. Just, stars haven't aligned up yet, but it's definitely something that I would love to do. I respect the guy so much for what he's done and for how hard that he's grinding for the Fight Night community and Lux Vision as well. You know, to be just a year in and have that amount of support, only goes to show that he's doing things right. And
Hmm.
so, shout out to him and shout out to you too.
Hey, thank you, thank
The
you.
the fact that you've been able to build such a strong audience on TikTok only goes to show that the hard work that you've put in creating content for Fight Night Champion hasn't been for nothing. And so
Thank you.
I just want to thank you for making content and bringing awareness to how great Fight Night Champion is. And we need we need new faces, we need new blood in the community. So I would love to get it on with the new generation.
Oh yeah, it's quite a few people. You got like people like I said, Lux Vision that's just now scratching the surface. You got people like it's Blue TV. I want to say that's his YouTube. He's a
Hmm.
good friend of mine. His name Bankroll Blue, but I think it's Blue TV on YouTube. You got people like Fight Night. You probably heard of him before. What's his name? Uh, Mr. Almond. I'm not sure if
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
familiar
yeah,
with
yeah.
Mr.
Mr.
Almond. That's
Almond.
yeah,
Yeah. He's
that's
been
from him.
another one. He's been another one that's been in the trenches. Mr. Almond's been in the trenches for quite some time,
Hmm.
making content. So, I watched quite a few of his videos and I'm a fan of his.
Yeah,
Shout out to
same.
Mr. Almond. He's doing his thing in the OWC scene.
Hmm. And it seems like he doesn't get the credit he's due because he tries
No.
to post videos about mainly dealing how to deal with spammers
Yep.
and cheesers, and a lot of people kind of sometimes don't give him the respect because they like, okay, you trying to give us the keys to how to beat these people, but you kind of spam me or cheesy yourself. But people don't understand that sim boxing isn't gonna always get the spammers out of the way. You can't always deal with sim boxing, rely on sim boxing to get rid of spammers. You got to tap
Play to
into
win.
the dark side sometimes and channel in
Gotta
your
play
inner
to
spam.
Gotta play to win, baby. If you gotta get some spam, if you gotta use some spam and cheese to win, then hey,
Yeah.
that's how I go. I know I've been accused of spam many, many times, and I don't care. I do what I gotta do to win the fight, and
Hmm.
if I could give a tip to Mr. Almond, that's what I would say is do whatever you feel you need to do to win the fight, whatever gets you the dub, man. So uh, don't listen to the haters. I know that he's a good fighter. Hold on a second.
I got you.
Okay. For some reason, TikTok was saying I was inactive. Sorry
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
it does
But
that a lot. Yeah, it'll
oh,
happen. Yeah, it does that.
okay. So I'm not tripping. But
No.
yeah. As far as that goes, do what you got to do to win. There's
Mhm.
playing to have fun, and then there's playing to win. And I
Mhm.
play to win. So you know,
So
shout out to Mr. Almond. Keep playing
so
to win, brother.
so I've watched you. I've watched um Mr. Almond. I've watched people like Blue. My I said my boy Bankroll Blue. Shout out to my boy Bankroll. Um,
Hmm.
and I be just impressed and Lux as well. I be just so impressed on the skill set you guys have, the patience to be able to fight so clean and still put belt to ass to spammers and be able to call out people for spamming. Why do y'all feel like y'all get so much hate for calling spammers out? And why do y'all feel like y'all get so much hate from that aspect? What do you think is the reason?
Um, I can't speak for them, but speaking
Hmm.
for myself, I think the hate comes from the fact that once you take away someone's strategy and they're so one dimensional with their style, then that's where that hate comes from because you've basically downloaded them. You've basically unpacked their strat, and they don't have a bag. They don't have no plan B, C, or D. and you're pretty much at their mercy, or they're at my mercy, as I should say. And you know, when it comes to figuring out a person's spam, it's like, you figure it out and you start to counter it over and over and over again, and then you actually force that person to think. And spammers are brain dead players who just literally go online to press one fucking button. And once you take that one fucking button away from them, then that's when they crash out. So
Hmm.
it's a skill issue. Really, it's a skill issue. You know, if you hate, if you're hating on, if you're a spammer and you're hating on me, then you need to look at yourself in the mirror and get some skills. That's simple.
You're very synonymous with a few things when it comes to if people are sitting there or real fans are watching your videos. You're synonymous with a lot of things. Case in point, with the "I'm a motherfucking thug" catchphrase.
Hmm. Yeah.
When did that become like the catchphrase for LX Sniper? When was it something that just came out of nowhere and it was like, oh shit, this is it,
Yeah.
this is it.
That's exactly how it happened. I think it came about during the Madden days.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't say I'm a motherfucking thug, but I used to say the part at the end of my Madden videos, and then just one day I was playing Fight Night, and then I said it, and then I said it with how I say it today, and I was like, oh shit, this is it, this is the catchphrase,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just took it and ran with it. Yeah, I
um
just took it and ran with it.
have you ever thought about dropping like merch, as far as I'm a motherfucking thug merch, LX Sniper kind of like merch just for
Yes.
like fans or anything like that in particular?
Yes, in fact, this shirt that I'm wearing now will be for sale soon.
Mm.
So, yes, I do plan on putting out some merchandise for the fans, and once that merchandise is available, I will post it and let everybody know where they can get it.
Cool, cool, cool. Another thing that you're synonymous with is the mic scuffle. I wanted to talk to you about that because that's like when I watch your videos, and not only is it just a fight night thing. People don't know that you have undisputed content, you have Madden
Yeah.
content, you have content from Street Fighter, all that.
Hmm.
And to be able to put belt to ass, and after seeing somebody spam or talk shit and they don't know that they're fighting you, and then you get that mic scuffle, where did that come from? What was the reason behind the mic scuffle?
Well, whenever I'm playing the game, I don't play the game to just talk. Like whenever I'm playing Fight Night Champion, I'm online doing my thing. I'm not there to talk shit and be toxic. I'm actually there to just play the game and, and win the match. I don't really talk trash. I don't really like to instigate things unless you give me a reason to get my mic out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so with that said, whenever I play the game, I don't even have my headset on whenever I'm playing. So, you know, whenever, we're in a fight and for whatever reason, if I feel the need that I got to get the mic out, then, that's where it comes from. I literally will pick my mic up and you hear all the ruffling and everything, and then the bullshit starts. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, to answer your question though, it's because I don't play with my headset on most of the time. I just, I'm concentrating, trying to win the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Then, they crash out, and then I got to get on the mic and I start crashing out too. And, then you get the train wreck television that you see on my channel.
Yeah, man, I got to say that those things right there, I feel like, and in the mid commercials that you make, and within the videos to touch on a certain topic of the videos,
Hmm.
which I feel like is criminally underrated. I have not seen
Thank you.
nobody do it since you, before you, or since you. So
Thank
I
you.
feel like those things is what made you special in a way, because it, first of all, it was funny. Second of all, it was new, it was fresh, and third, it I feel like it couldn't be replicated. You know what I'm saying? If somebody was to do it, they'll be like, LX Sniper did that. I see you
Hmm.
took a page out of LX Sniper's book. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can ever say like, "Oh, LX Sniper got that from this person." You had some things that are just synonymous with you, and that are just like top notch genius to me. Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
that right there is golden, especially the mics. I love the mic scuffle. When I say I have my lady sit next to me and I got her hit to your video. She loves your videos, by the way. She knows when that mic gets to scuffling, she is automatically laughing. It's an automatic laugh. What's he about to say now? What is he about to get into? You know what I'm saying? And that it right there is just something special for me to be able to not only get my lady to be a fan of your videos, just I've also you've been on the phone with my younger brother who's also a streamer. He a
Hmm.
fan of yours. I've got my dad, my mom's, like quite a few
That's
people to
that's crazy.
really watch your videos and really like it, and my sister as well to attach, and be attached to your craft, your skill, and you're willing to be at the top. I do want to commend you and give you hats off for that.
Thank you.
For being different and having something fresh for all of us to be able to watch. Um,
Thank you.
oh yeah, no problem. I wanted to talk more about the now 100-0 situation from Fight Night. What sparked that goal to want to start, taking out the top 100 fighters in Fight Night Champion and just start sniping them one by one? What was the motive behind that? Was that a specific person that set you off, or was that just like, okay, this is just gonna be the goal? I'm gonna show everybody that I'm here to put belt to ass on these top 100 fighters, and I'll be the top guy. What was the reason behind the 100-0 situation?
That's a very good question. And the 100L situation came about because and I've never talked about this on my channel, but the reason why I wanted to do the 100 is because I wanted to prove to myself before I prove to anyone else that I'm capable of being the top guy, the number one guy in Fight
Mm,
Night Champion. And as they say, to be the man, you got to beat the man.
right.
And the inspiration for the 100 content honestly has come from my loss against Fight Night's Finest, actually.
Mm,
Um, the reason why I've not challenged him to a rematch, even though I'm confident that I could beat him in a rematch in Fight Night, not undisputed, he got that. But in Fight Night, um, is because I've done the work, I've leveled up, and I've enhanced my skill set. But before I show him that I've gotten better, it was important to me to show the world that I've gotten better because I got a lot. You want to talk about hate comments and stuff?
mm.
Man, when Fight Night's Finest beat me, man, the
I
haters came
remember.
out of the woodworks like cockroaches.
I
And
do remember that video for sure. I do
yeah,
remember that.
so I wanted to prove to myself that I could do the 100-0. So if I could beat, go undefeated against the top 100, then I think I would be ready, and not just for Fight Night's Finest, but it would be that was the criteria that I set for myself
Hmm.
to get a rematch to people like Malky Pablo, who I would love to fight again, and also Fight Night's Finest. And what people don't know is, and this is just a little bit of Fight Night Champion lost media for you guys, but I actually ran into Fight Night's Finest in
Mm.
a ranked match online.
Hmm.
And yeah, we'll just say this. I'll say this, y'all. I'll say this. The fight went completely different than our first bout. I'll leave it at that. It
Mm.
was completely different. And I do have that footage, but out of respect to Fight Night's Finest, I will not release that footage without his permission. So
Hmm.
if and I've not had a talk with him about releasing it. So, if there's enough demand for it, I will talk to him about it and possibly release that video, the
Hmm.
unreleased fight, the unreleased rematch between me and him. But what I will say is that after that rematch, I was more convinced than any that that the work that I put in to go on that 100 challenge was worth it and was working for me. So
Hmm.
um, I don't remember where I'm at right now in the process, but as the late great Kobe Bryant would say, job's not finished yet. So look for more 100 content coming soon. So those who are still on top or fight night champion and you're in the top 100, beware. I'm coming back.
I wanted to touch bases with you as far as still into the fight night champion conversation. Um, were you ever like a OWC kind of guy, or was OWC not your cup of tea, or do you ever
I,
plan on you know?
I dabble in OWC sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some content that I have not released yet that's in OWC, but
Mm-hmm.
man, OWC is spam central. Jesus
Yes.
Christ.
Yes.
I do find that my gameplay experience is a lot better in head to head, but
Mm-hmm.
I do understand like with some fighters who talk shit to me are only in OWC, so
Right.
sometimes I'll get on there to see if I could snipe some people, and there's been a few people that have gotten sniped by me in the OWC and content that I'll be releasing in the future.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
And plus, I want to get a belt. I've never won a belt in OWC, so that's
Mm-hmm.
actually a goal of mine.
So
So I
would
really
you
would like to do that.
want to win a at least a belt in each weight class, lightweight, heavyweight, and middleweight, or it
It don't
doesn't
matter.
matter what weight class in particular?
No, it doesn't matter what weight class. I just want to get a belt just to say that I've done it.
Yeah, cool, cool, cool. A lot of people don't. I wanted to talk to you now about the aspect of undisputed. You
Hmm.
know, I remember when you first started dropping content for undisputed, and rightfully so, back when the game was really not playable. You know, I wanted to ask you, will we be able to still see in the future maybe some more undisputed content from LX Sniper? Um,
Mm,
will we possibly get like a collab with you and a Fight Night's finest in the undisputed world, and other people that moved over to undisputed from Fight Night Champion? Will we ever get you to cross over and just be like, let's do this for the fans?
I would be open to it, but
Mm.
I tell you now that if I played those boys in undisputed right now, I'd get cooked. But but for me, it's about enjoyment of the game, and the reason why I have not made much undisputed content is because I'm just not a fan of the game. I don't like the game.
Right.
It's that simple. But
Hmm.
but and this is a huge one. I have seen that there's been some patches that have been released and some more coming. I think there's going to be a real big patch coming soon
Hmm.
with new fighters, and so I will be revisiting the game. And if the game is better, if they've made improvements to the game, then yeah, I'll certainly be back and grind that game out, get good at the game, get skilled up, and
Hmm.
you know, and whatever happens happens. So I would love to rumble with those boys and see how I fare up against them in undisputed.
Mm. Okay. Um, I wanted to also, touch bases on, you know, is there any other games if you don't get into the world of boxing right now as far as gaming, is there anything you got your eyes set on as far as content wise in the gaming world? Because again, people don't know
Yes.
that you play Madden as well, Street Fighters and other games. They don't know that you're a
Hmm.
real gamer. They
Yeah.
probably just know that you're synonymous with the boxing, world. They don't know that you go outside of boxing.
Yeah. Yeah. I do wanna. I do plan on doing 2K. I've been playing a lot of NBA 2K lately.
Mhm.
That would be where I would put my focus on. I've done a lot of. I've been playing that lately the most, and in fact, I'm in the top 100 actually.
Mm.
In Play Now Online.
Mhm.
On 2K. So if I do, venture outside of Fight Night, that would likely be what I do is do more 2K and then also more Street Fighter because I still play a lot of fighting games too. So those would be the areas of focus that I would focus on.
Cool. 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 Um, you and my brother. We were on the phone. Y'all were able to talk about Mortal Kombat in general.
Ah, yeah,
And
that too.
possibly being able to bless each other. With a collab. Is that
Hmm.
you think that would still be like possible to do?
Hell
Something.
yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel
When
like being able to have your followers get to see you play a synonymous video game like Mortal Kombat
hmm
with somebody that's up and coming would be would show everybody the humble side of you, even though we know LX LX Sniper is not to be fucked with, but it gets to show people like, hey, I'm willing to work with other people. I'm not too selfish if you don't get on my bad side. You know what I'm saying? Like I just wanted to touch bases with you and just talk with you about Mortal Kombat and
yeah.
what was it like for you playing that growing up, as from then to now.
Oh man, Mortal Kombat was one of the games that I played the most of as a kid, especially three.
Mm-hmm.
Um, UMK3 would probably be the second. Mortal Kombat 9 is my favorite Mortal Kombat ever, but
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, I would say UMK3. I played them all growing up. But yeah, like UMK3, I still remember how to play that game. Like it's like riding a bike for me. So, I would love to throw down with your brother. As soon as they got a Mortal Kombat Legacy collection coming out
Mm-hmm.
real soon. I want to say this month, but yeah, I really want to. I'm gonna be copping that. So if your brother's gonna be online, hey, we
Mm-hmm.
can get it whatever.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I feel like it most definitely, especially if you on TikTok a little bit more. Yeah, I feel like we can all help each other out. Especially get together and expand our horizon on TikTok. Um, people don't know that you're a huge wrestling fan. If they don't know, from the videos, if they don't watch too much of the videos or finish watching them, they don't know that you're a huge wrestling fan. You want to to talk more about what made you become a wrestling fan, or the match that made you a wrestling fan in general. Like I'm a huge
Yeah.
wrestling fan, so yeah, it's good to be able to talk about wrestling on this podcast.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you. I've been watching wrestling since the late 80s. Uh, I would say around uh Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Andre the Giant, Jake the Snake Roberts, Ted DiBiase, that era. They call it the golden era.
Mhm.
Um, the first time I watched wrestling, I've been a fan, hardcore fan since. Wrestling will always be a part of my blood until I die. I've been to several wrestling shows in my life, many Monday Night Raw shows going all the way back to the Attitude Era up to now. I recently went to AEW All Out in Texas, or All
Mhm.
In Texas. That was one of the greatest pay-per-views I've ever been to. I've been to WrestleMania. I've been to WrestleMania in Dallas. And I've been to a few other events too. Bad Blood in Atlanta last year was amazing. I've got to meet a few wrestlers, and all in all, you know, I without professional wrestling, you wouldn't have what you see on my channel. I would say, um, 80 to 95% of my channel is influenced by professional wrestling.
Mhm.
I study the art of professional wrestling, the promos, the production, just everything about it.
Mhm.
I, I can't speak enough of what pro wrestling means to me. Going back to when I was a kid, so we used to put our friends, kick them in the stomach, and do stone cold stunners on our friends in high school. Put my homeboys in the sharpshooter and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I will always, that will be in my heart forever. I love professional wrestling.
Yeah. I was actually banned from watching wrestling at one point in time in my life. We,
Band?
yeah, my mom banned us. Cause
Damn,
okay, here's the story.
damn, mom, why you ban him? Why
Yeah,
you go ban him, Moose?
yeah, Mama Uso put us on lockdown in
Come
the
on
Uso
now,
penitentiary for about a good 2 years. So it
that's
was for
cruel and
good reasoning
unusual
to a
punishment.
degree. Um, one time I was ironically enough I was playing the game. I was on the Nintendo 64 that my dad had given us when we were like I was like 2 and 3. I was 3 years
Hmm.
old. My brother was 2. We probably like maybe like 10 or 11, probably 11 and 12 at the time. Maybe it was probably like 9 or something, probably within that age range.
Hmm.
I'm in my sister's room playing WrestleMania 2000. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
um, and my brother and my sister were wrestling, and
Hmm.
my sister thought she was Shawn Michaels, jumped off the bed and tried to hit my brother with the elbow drop and missed and fractured her
Ooh,
arm. And all I
ooh.
heard was a loud thump and a heavy cry. And my mom came up. What happened? She jumped off the bed. She tried to hit me with a Shawn Michaels elbow. My mom was pissed. She was
Damn.
pissed. We were not literally for 2 years. We were not allowed to look at wrestling, like play the video games, even watch other
Damn.
people play wrestling. We weren't even allowed looking at pictures. I remember I got my ass whooped for going. I went to the library and I knew I wasn't supposed to be doing it, but I went on WWE.com. I'm like, listen, I gotta see some DX right now. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I gotta see me some DX right now. What's going on WWE.com? And as soon as I typed it in and it popped up, my mom literally walks right into the library. I'm turned around, just caught red-handed, DX everywhere on the screen, and she's just
Damn.
like, uh, uh,
That's crazy.
that's your ass when you get home,
Oh man.
right?
She had two words for you. Ass whooping.
Oh yeah,
Shit.
oh yeah, we learned, we learned our lesson for sure. But oh man, I just thought that was like a funny story. I thought I'd share with you as far as like, man, those 2 years was hell. Oh my goodness, like I would literally, you know how people be addicted to something and then when they don't have it, they go through this withdrawal. I was literally
Hmm.
going through like a wrestling withdrawal to where I was just like, I was literally like losing my sanity. Like I couldn't,
I
like
understand.
it was crazy. It was crazy. Like I just couldn't shake it. That was like two of the worst years of my life, and it's crazy because they'll be like, bro, it's nothing but wrestling. No, if you knew me, I was very creative when it came to wrestling. So,
Yeah.
I was literally losing my shits when I couldn't watch wrestling for 2 years. It bummed me out, and I was low key
Damn.
upset with my brother, the one that's the streamer. I was low key upset
Yeah.
with him, but I couldn't be too much upset with him because my mom knew we all wrestled, and I used to wrestle with my cousin DJ. Um, we all used to wrestle together, so my mom already knew what we were, about. It was just the simple fact of now my daughter's hurt. I gotta take her to
Yeah.
Children's. Y'all done. Y'all cooked. I
Yeah.
remember just playing the video game we was playing a video game, and she came upstairs one day, and we were on WCW versus NWO Revenge, and
Oh, that's a classic.
a classic.
Nobody could touch me in those games, by the way.
You think so? You think so?
Yeah,
I
I'm
feel
the
like
goat
I
in those
can make
games.
it. I feel like I
I'm the
can get
goat in
you.
those games.
I feel like I can get
I'm the
you with
goat. Like, and people say, I've done whatever I've done in Fight Night.
hmm
That's documented. But those games, WWF No Mercy, WCW NWO Revenge, World
hmm
Tour, WrestleMania 2000, or even Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 for the hardcore.
hmm
Any of the AKI engine games, I'm goated in. Nobody can
I
touch me in those games.
I
I
think
wish there
Aki.
was a scene for that shit.
Yeah, I
I
think Aki did a great job with producing the older wrestling games. They
Yeah.
super underrated when it comes
Hold
to.
on.
I got you.
See these right here, and this is just a sample size, but you
Holy
know what I'm saying.
shit! Oh yeah!
I have them right here. There's WCW Revenge. There's No Mercy, and
Wow.
again for the hardcore, we got you can't really see it because of the lighting, but there's Virtual Pro Wrestling too.
Mm-hmm.
And these are three of them.
Wow.
There's more of the AKI games that I have, but yeah, yeah, I'm ready whenever,
Oh
wherever.
yeah.
I got four controllers and a Nintendo 64. Pull
Wow.
up.
Oh
Pull
yeah,
up.
yeah. I might have to. I might have to get something in the works so we can do a collab ourselves with it, man. I would love to. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you
If
know.
there's a way to play those games online, I would love to do it because I I I think they what do you call it parsec or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If I've never used it before, but if you can use that to play the Nintendo 64 games online, then we need to set that fade up ASAP. ASAP.
ASAP. My guy Hound Dog said, "What's up, LX?" Um, it's crazy because it's that's wild now because I now want to touch the topic now because he's a huge fan of yours as well. But remember, I told you
Thank you.
this is the guy that once said that you were old news. You were that undisputed was the future when you went on your rant about how bad the game you felt like the game was, and back then Hound Dog was he liked the game. And what do you now, since that's crazy that he popped up, what do you want to say to him as far as you know the 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 video that he made about you saying like you're old news, out of touch, and
I
undisputed was
haven't seen that video.
well, he since deleted it, but I remember I sent you the screenshot of the title. Like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but he since deleted the video. Maybe because he changed his mind about he doesn't really like undisputed as well. But I told him I would tell you. He already knows that But anything you want to say to him as far as boxing goes, you know.
I told you so. Told you Undisputed was trash. There's
Yeah,
more people that are playing Fight Night right now than Undisputed,
yeah.
and Fight Night is a decade and a half old, and
Mm-hmm.
Undisputed still was not able to take the reins away from Fight Night. EA still has the boxing community in its hands like putty. All they got to do is just drop another one, and Undisputed will be dead on arrival. But
Yeah, true.
but at the same time though, I do think that Undisputed does need its support because support from the boxing community because at least they're trying.
Mm-hmm.
And something is better than nothing. And so, with them putting together community events and creator events and things of that nature, it at least shows that they're doing the right thing as far as supporting the boxing video game community. And it's more than what we can say that EA has done. So,
Right.
shout out to Steel City Interactive with
Yes.
at least giving us something to compare Fight Night Champion to because
Mm-hmm.
goddamn, it's been almost 12, 13 years before we even got a new boxing game.
Right.
So, you know, I personally would rather wait for a new EA Sports game, but we got to work with what we got, and what we got is undisputed. So I don't whether undisputed is the future, I don't know, but undisputed is the present because it's
Hmm.
new and it's what we got. So I
I could,
don't knock anybody for supporting it. It may not be the game for me,
yeah.
but that's not to say that there's not other people in the community that enjoy it and make content off of it. And I salute everybody that have built their channels or are building their content around undisputed. So more power to them.
Yeah, me personally, what I can tell you is it's most definitely better than yesterday. That's the what I can say about undisputed. It was
Mm,
better than yesterday. That
hey,
and I
that's a
feel like
start.
the desync issue is
Yeah.
something, if Steel City gets a chance to listen to this, because I'm a big advocate for their game. I like their game personally. I didn't like it at first, but it
Mm.
grew on me. It's like, it's like beer for me. It's an acquired taste. I feel like,
Yeah.
beer is an acquired taste. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel
Yeah.
like, you might not like it too all that well, but if people passing out a beer, you might want to take a sip. Fuck it,
I'll
I don't
take a
really
sip.
drink beer, but I'll take a sip of it. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like it's most definitely an acquired taste for sure. Um, it doesn't the desync issue is a problem. I feel like they can work on what I can say taken from Fight Night champion, and I don't want them to say, just do that. I want them to you be able to, as far as what I like about Fight Night Champion, you can match up with your opponent, see what their quit the do not finish level is at, who's
Yeah. You
spammers and who's
can't.
not, and be able to back out so you don't have to waste your time
Yeah.
on
And
people who you
undisputed,
know is
you
gonna quit
already matched up with whoever. You don't even
with
get a
whoever.
chance to.
and
Yeah.
and sometimes you are matched up with the same person 6 times. It's been
Mhm.
streams where I done been matched up with the same person 6 times. It's like, bro,
Yeah.
I don't want to fight this guy. I'm ready for the next guy. But it comes to the testament of what you were saying, like not too many people are on. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
we need to be able to see who we're fighting. They
Mhm.
need to be able to fix the servers from different regions, because if you're in the US and you fight somebody from the UK, the servers is trash.
Yeah.
They need to fix that.
It needs a lot of work.
It needs a lot of work, but I don't want to, be too harsh on Steel City, because this is their first project. They're a small
Undisputed
company.
2, I think, will be a much better product.
I I
I
I,
have
I
very,
believe so.
very high standards for Undisputed too, because then, the gloves are off, no pun
Hmm.
intended. But, I think, if they announce a sequel, then they'll give themselves the time to fix all of the issues that are wrong with the original Undisputed game. So,
Hmm.
I do think that, and I do hope that we do get a sequel, so that way we can that the boxing community we all win. So the more boxing games, the better.
Hmm.
Let's not just only be stuck to VR boxing, which those games are fun too. But let's get more content. Let's get more boxing games out there. EA, let's drop another fight night. Stop bullshitting. Um, Steel City,
Exactly.
let's get to work on Undisputed too. You guys got a base game going. Let's build off of it, and you
Hmm.
know, let's make more boxing games.
Right. Going back into the wrestling thing, wrestling topic. Um, was there a match, like in particular, that made you fall in love that with wrestling, that gravitated you towards being like, okay, I'm gonna be a fan for life for this match. This match made me a diehard fan right here.
Um, mm, I don't know if it was a particular match, but I know one that really stood out in my head as a kid was Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog at
Hmm.
SummerSlam 1992.
Right.
That was one of my favorite matches of all time, and I remember I used to watch the pay-per-views tapes back in the day, and that was one that I was already a big wrestling fan by that time, but That's one of the very few matches that stood out back then that was just so great and that made me a fan of Bret Hart in general and the WWF at the time.
Hmm.
So I would say that one.
Okay, okay. What was one match that you were so pumped up and hyped for that you can remember that disappointed you when you were able to watch it? Like,
Hmm.
come on now, like really, like
Uh, uh, Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan, SummerSlam. That one
what,
was,
was that the match where Shawn Michaels was overselling his ass off
yeah,
to Hulk Hogan? Yeah.
that was funny. I'm not gonna lie, that was funny. Oh, you know what? I got one. I got one. One match that really disappointed me was Hulk Hogan versus Sting at Starcade '97.
Wow, I didn't get to
Um,
watch that. It was bad.
It was bad. It was terrible. Especially after WCW built that matchup for like a year or two with the
Hmm.
NWO and all of that. And Bret Hart was a special guest referee, which I thought was a waste of space because they could have done so much better with how to use Bret. But even without him, the match just stunk. They stunk up the joint, and
Hmm.
yeah, it was terrible. Um, I was looking forward to that match so much, and it was a huge disappointment when I
Mm.
watched it.
I, for me, I would probably say I'm not gonna lie. It may be like a little bit of recency bias, and maybe they'll fix it up if they ever have a chance to again. But the Jimmy versus Jay Uso at what was it, WrestleMania 40?
Yeah, that one wasn't really a good match
Oh
either.
man, I was just so disappointed because like I said, I grew up on the Usos when I was a fan from day one. When they had their little generic little music.
Yeah.
Um, I was a fan, and it was just because not only could they wrestle, they were brothers. Me and my brother
Hmm.
were huge fans of wrestling, so it gravitated towards. I gravitated towards them from that, and just seeing where they came from as far as being a tag team and venturing off to be single stars. Well, more say Jay because Jimmy still stuck with Solo and the Bloodline after that. But just seeing them become what they become, I just thought that they had a good little story right there when Jimmy turned on Jay, which I still think is the dumbest shit. Like, oh
Yeah.
man, that shit still pisses me off to this day. Like, I don't know why they decided to do that, but yeah,
But
I
without
feel
it, we
like
wouldn't have got Yeet. So.
true enough. But I just still feel like come on, like that I think Jimmy and Jay's match and Jay and Roman's match with the tribal combat who's yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that because
Yeah.
I just thought to myself like nobody's allowed to be in it. Instead of just saying like bloodline rules, it was just tribal combat where I felt like nobody was allowed to be in it. And then you have Solo fucking Sokoa be in it for damn
Yeah.
near most of the match, and then have Jimmy fucking Uso just turn on him for no. I guess
For
he
no
tried to
apparent
make a
reason.
reason, but it was to no reason at all, bro. It was just so stupid to me. They could have made Jimmy turn heel another way. You know what I'm saying?
I
But
agree.
that was crazy. But that was I guess it was a start to a good build up for it. But that match was just super kick, super kick, super kick.
Too many damn super
Yeah,
kicks.
too many super kicks, and the only
Yeah.
part that I felt was when Jimmy like practically begged Jay like don't do this to me. That's the only heartfelt moment I felt from the match.
The
But
drama.
I was just like they did not just play me like this. Like man,
Yeah, that was disappointing.
that
I
right
think
there.
they didn't even like the match themselves,
Yeah.
if I recall. But you can't. Every match ain't gonna be a banger, and they've both had banger matches since then. So it's
Mm-hmm.
all love to the Uso brothers. I would love to meet them one day.
Same here. I listen. I want to meet the Usos. John Cena and AJ Styles. I feel like
Yeah,
if I can meet those guys, I'm set. You know,
that's a good
I'm
one.
set.
That's a good start.
I think I did get to tell you one person that I did get to meet was Leo Rush. I don't know if you know who that is. He
Yeah, I
used to
know who
be,
that is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got to meet Leo Rush.
I
So
want to say he's
what?
in AEW right now.
I think so.
I
I
think he's
think so.
back in AEW, but
Yeah.
I can't remember. I could be wrong, but I know he was. I know I saw a match. I saw him in a match recently in
Hmm.
AEW, and was surprised that he was back over there. But yeah,
Yeah.
he seems like a cool dude.
Yeah. He's very funny, very humble. Yeah. I got the he joined. I was able to join his Instagram live
Hmm.
because I was such a fan of his, and I think I told you about the story. A lot of people used to call me like the man of the hour, and then I
Yeah.
became like a fan of him back in his CZW days. And when he came to
Hmm.
WWE and started calling himself the man of the hour, I thought that was just like a weird coincidence. But I wound up getting a
Yeah.
tattoo right here of an hourglass that says "Man of the Hour." It
Oh,
was a
that's dope.
tattoo for me, but it was a tribute tattoo for him, like because I'm a fan of
Yeah.
his. So I wound up
Yeah.
telling him about the tattoo on Instagram on his Instagram
Hmm.
live, and I didn't even notice he saw. I didn't even think he was gonna see my comment, and
Yeah.
he was like, I want to see this tattoo. It better not be anything crazy. So when I seen he sent me the request, I'm
Hmm.
like, yo, I was just so
I
fucking
know it
fanned
was like
out.
flabbergasted. I was like, oh damn.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. Yeah, so we talked for a while. I showed him the tattoo. He really loved the tattoo. And, we talked for a bit and I was pissed off because I was just now getting I just now was getting an iPhone and I was trying to
Hmm.
screen record it like the moment for me and I didn't know how to screen record. So I just
Yeah.
had to take a screenshot of me and Leo Rush together. But that
Yeah.
was a blessed moment for me, man. That was dope.
That's
But
fire.
anybody that you want to tell anybody that you got to meet in person?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I got to meet my favorite wrestler of all time, Bret the Hitman Hart,
Mm-hmm.
and he's such a class act. It was an honor, and it meant the world for me to tell him to his face that, he's my hero.
Mm-hmm.
He's my hero. He will always be my hero, and that I appreciate him so much.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a blessing and an honor to be able to live to see him and shake that man's hand, and I'll never forget that moment for the rest of my life. Another wrestler that I got to meet is Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
I got to meet mommy, and oh my God,
Lucky.
she's look, she is so beautiful. And by beautiful, I don't mean, of course she's beautiful on the outside, but just talking to her for the short time that I did, I can tell you that she's a very, very, very kind person. She's a
Mm-hmm.
very, very kind, gentle person, and she's a sweetheart, man. And I know on TV she might come out, rah 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 brutality, but that wasn't the Rhea Ripley that I saw. She was very, very funny, very pleasant, very sweet and kind, and very humble. And
Mm-hmm.
that just made the interaction that much better. And plus, she smelled amazing.
Mm. Oh man, you're such a lucky one. Such a lucky one. Oh man. Oh,
She
that is
smelled so
great.
good.
Oh man. That is amazing. So about the Bret Hart situation, right? With him being your
Hmm.
hero, were you pissed off at Goldberg for practically ending his career?
Man, fuck Bill Goldberg. That's my opinion on that. Fuck Bill Goldberg. Never liked him and don't like him today because of what he did to Bret. So yeah, fuck him.
So who do you feel like screwed Bret more, Vince and Shawn or Goldberg?
Uh, I'm gonna say Goldberg because Goldberg prematurely ended his career.
Mm-hmm.
Had that not have happened, then I think Brett would have eventually found his way back to WWE
Mm-hmm.
and could have ended his career there, back in WWE, but he wasn't given that chance. And It's a shame. I mean, we did he well, technically Brett did have one more match or a couple more matches in WWE when he
Mm-hmm.
came back in like 2010 or 11 or something like
Yeah,
that,
and he
but
won the U.S.
the
Championship from the
US
Miz.
title, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And so that happened, and I was, even though of course no one was expecting him to be the prime Bret Hart, and I was just glad to see him again. But yeah, Goldberg definitely robbed us of some really good matches from Bret
yeah,
that we could have had, so it's a shame. But I'm glad that he's still alive and in good health and good spirits,
yeah.
because
Same here.
a lot of our wrestlers die away too soon, so it's good to have the Hitman still around with us, for sure.
Can I get three of your wrestling hot takes that you feel like would get, if you said right now, people will probably give you the pitchforks right in the
Okay,
corner.
I got you. I got a couple. Chris Benoit is innocent. I don't think he did it. I don't think
That's
he did it. I think Chris Benoit was set up.
mm-hmm.
There's evidence to prove it. There was not a thorough investigation that was done to warrant if that really was a double murder suicide.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that, you know I don't think enough research and development or research was done to figure out what actually happened. And there's evidence to prove that some people might have broken into his house and killed him and his family.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that Benoit is innocent. Um,
That just gave me goosebumps. I'm not gonna lie. I watched the video. I'm sorry to cut you off. I watched the video where some guys was just playing the audio in the background of when Benoit was having this conversation, and
oh
it was
yeah.
so bone chilling, and it literally kept me up. I could not like sleep because I'm thinking to myself like, man, I think this man is innocent, and that's so crazy because if it pops out for him to be innocent, then what?
hmm
You know.
they'd have to induct him in the Hall of Fame, even though it won't
Mhm.
happen. But that's one.
Mhm.
Second hot take. I think Vince McMahon killed the Ultimate Warrior.
Mm.
I think they killed my man Warrior when he came back to do his Hall of Fame speech, and then he died the next Monday or that next day on Raw, or right after Raw. Um, I do think that there was something that happened there, and
Mhm.
Warrior knew it. I can't prove it. Won't ever be able to prove it, but something was always fishy with about how he passed.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's my second hot take. Third hot take. Um, ooh, this is a good one. Third hot take I would say is hmm, man, I don't know. Third hot take I would say is in terms of current women's wrestling, and
Mhm.
this is a strong hot take, I think Chelsea Green is the greatest women's wrestler that's on the roster right now.
Mm.
I think she is so skilled. She's very funny, but she's such a good wrestler and good sports entertainer that I think she deserves the women's title. And it's a shame that all these other girls are getting the limelight before her, because I really
Mhm.
think she deserves it more than anybody.
Okay. Okay. So what do you? I feel like Chelsea Green most definitely is. She's very deserving of a push. I don't know what's the hold up to get the rocket strapped to her. I do agree. Were you how did you feel that Stephanie Valkyrie was able to win the women's championship before Chelsea Green? Were you kind of upset about it? You feel
Nah,
like
I mean Stephanie deserves it. She's a very good, very beautiful. Oh my God, I got a crush on
yeah.
her too. But she's definitely deserving of it. So I don't want
Mhm.
to take that away from her. the reality is that the women's division is stacked right now, and
It
then you got
is.
AJ Lee back in the fold too. So I think women's wrestling's in a really good place right now, and the way what I said about Chelsea, can be said the same for a lot of other wrestlers in that
Hmm.
women's roster. So you know, you can only have one champion at a time. So Stephanie's it right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she does with the belt.
What do you think about the mergers between WWE and TNA and having Trick Williams as its champion? What is your what how do you feel about that?
It's good exposure for TNA and WWE. It gives, most importantly, it gives professional wrestlers an avenue to make money. Most important because, whether you're in TNA, AEW, NJPW, wherever,
Mm-hmm.
it was a point in time where you could only really make money in one promotion in America, which was WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So, and TNA has been around, but it hadn't been very popular, and then it kind of went up in popularity a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
it's been able to hold its own for over 20 years. So, for Impact or TNA to still be on and collaborating with the WWE, it's great because you get to see more matches that we normally don't get to see,
Mm-hmm.
and wrestlers are able to still get make a living doing what they love. So I think it's a win-win for all parties.
Yeah, I think they were. If I'm correct, they bought out AAA as well.
Yeah, they
Um,
did. Yeah,
and they have Dominic Mysterio as double champion right now. Were you excited to
yeah.
see him win the
I was
world champion?
laughing. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah,
Shout out to Dirty Dom.
yeah. Shout out to Dirty Dom. I feel like that man is one a once in a lifetime talent right there. That you're not gonna be able to. It's gonna be hard to replicate his run. I feel like he's the greatest Mysterio. Shout, he
Absolutely.
passed his deadbeat father by a country mile.
That's a hot take right there. Now
Hot take
that's a
right
hot take.
there.
That's a hot take and a
That's a hot
half.
take right there.
That's a hot take.
He's
I
the
don't know
greatest
if I agree
Mysterio.
with you on that. That's a hot take, but
Oh
I
man,
do fuck with Dirty Dom. He's a great heel.
he better than his deadbeat dad. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but what was I about to get to? Do you feel like the how do you feel like how do you feel necessarily about the WWE and TKO merger? Do you feel like TKO is gonna ruin wrestling? You think he's gonna ruin the
Yes.
WWE
Uh,
at some point?
I'm not a fan of the raising ticket prices. I'm not a fan um of them putting their pay-per-views on ESPN now. Shout out to Stephanie McMahon for giving us the workaround with the VPNs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not a fan of how they screwed up the John Cena's heel turn. I'm not a fan
What a waste.
of yeah. I'm not really a fan of them taking WrestleMania to Saudi Arabia. That's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're it's it. You want to talk about a hot take? I've got a hot take for you. I think that WWE is gonna be sold to the Saudis within 5 years.
Wow, you think so?
I think so. They're gonna
Wow.
just. I think they're gonna sell WWE to the Saudis. It's only a matter of time, in my opinion.
Wow. It's crazy that you brought that up. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if they did. That
Yeah,
is a great hot take. Oh my goodness, I never even thought to even look at it like that. You right.
yeah.
That would be crazy. That would
hmm
be crazy. Um, the what do you feel? How did you feel about CM Punk CM Punk's return? Not only to AEW, but back to WWE within the same year. Do you feel like no one can ever replicate something like that ever again?
shout out to Jack Perry for allowing that to happen. You
Yes,
know, getting
yes,
getting Punk back in WWE. It's crazy because of all the things that he said, and I never thought that he would be back, but he's been the model citizen since, and
mm-hmm.
you can see the growth and maturity in Mr. Phil Brooks, and I'm happy for him. I'm such a huge CM Punk fan.
Same,
He was the reason why I started watching wrestling again back in 2011 after the Pipe Bomb
same.
promo.
Mm-hmm.
He's awesome. I love CM Punk. I really enjoy his work.
I do too. So do you feel like right now with the return of CM Punk, the return of AJ Lee, you know, John Cena, even though it didn't go as planned, you know, John Cena's heel turn, um, and his retirement tour in general, do you feel like this has been like the best era in wrestling history besides, you know, the of course everybody might say the Attitude Era, you know, it was the best area. Do you feel like the modern era is up there?
Um, I think it peaked around WrestleMania last year, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think it peaked when The Rock turned heel again and with the final boss stuff, which I thought was amazing work by Dwayne, and
Mm-hmm.
it kind of petered off since then. I mean, it's still good, it's still solid, but the best era ever since then, maybe. I'd have to really think about it, but I will say that I did enjoy the product, from when The Rock was having his feud with Cody Rhodes and
Mm-hmm.
how that turned out. That was great, and I think that it's a shame that the final boss character hasn't been back on WWE TV since. So,
Oh
hopefully
man.
we get that again.
And I'm
But
hoping we did too, because I feel like that that was the Rock, in my opinion, that was the Rock's best like run, in my opinion, to be the
yeah,
final boss. You know, Mama Rose, look at you now. You know all of
yeah,
that. Yeah, it's
and
gonna be bloodline rules. You know that.
that was
I felt like that
amazing.
was just goaded for him, for Rock to be able to turn heel, especially because I felt like people may have thought he didn't have it in him to pull off another good heel run. I feel like,
I didn't. I thought it would be impossible for people to boo The Rock, but
mm-hmm,
that just goes to show you how over Cody Rhodes is. I
mm-hmm.
am looking forward to him turning heel.
Oh, get
Cody
Cody,
Rhodes
man.
is such a great heel, and
Oh
if
my
anybody's
God.
ever seen his work outside in the Indies, he's the best heel WWE has. They just don't know it yet.
Yeah, I agree. They speaking of which, they should have been able to tell back in his early days with WWE when he was able to hold the
Yeah, dashing
Intercontinental
Cody
Champion.
Rhodes.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
yeah.
Chef's kiss, Chef's
And then they
kiss.
turned him into Stardust.
And then that
For
happened.
shame.
Yeah, and then that happened. So, and while we
Yeah.
on that topic, what are some of the things that you like about Vince's era that we don't get from Triple H's era, and what are some things that you like about Triple H's era that you feel like we didn't get from Vince's era? If you can,
Uh,
you know.
Vince's era, there's not so much of the over the top branding. You're not getting Slim Jim adverts on tables and prime drinks in the center of the ring. So, and tickets were more family friendly and affordable
Mm-hmm.
during the Vince era. Um, I do think that the booking is a little bit more unpredictable in the Vince era. I think Triple H's stories are drawn out way too long and way too predictable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do like in the Hunter Hearst Helmsley era though that wrestlers are able to be themselves more.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it in the characters and the promo work. And I do think that I mean, the wrestlers are not walking on eggshells, if you will, with how they're able to present themselves on TV. It doesn't feel dry like it did towards the end of the Vince era. Um, I don't think Vince was always like that, but towards the end, it was pretty bad with him in charge. And I thought, it was time for him to go. But it's pluses and minuses to it. Overall, I think it's pretty. The Triple H era has been a success so far, but
Mhm.
I'd be lying if I say I didn't miss Vince because I miss Vince McMahon a lot.
And it's crazy that I kind of miss Vince as well. I feel like, has he lost his touch of what makes a superstar? Yes,
Yeah.
but you can't take away you can't take away the fact that that man was a genius. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And he's older, so I kind of expect that to happen with him
Yeah.
using some of the
He's like
older
80.
things, you know,
Yeah.
and it was just you could tell, like, okay, Vince did made this decision right here versus
Hmm.
Triple H making a decision and be like, okay, Triple H made a banger with this one. But I feel like Vince was so underrated, and it's crazy because we done dealt with him mostly all of our life when it come to wrestling. I feel like he was just so underrated, and he gets credit where credit is due, but he does not at the same time.
Yeah.
He's like
He's
Floyd,
underappreciated.
very very underappreciated for for what he built. Um, yeah, man. I even not only what he's built, what he's able to contribute himself to the wrestling world, as far as going out there looking goofy to sell tickets. Do rag Vince was fucking goated to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Do rag Vince was on another level.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I feel like Vince is like a Floyd. I feel like he will never get. It might come when he dies, and I don't want that to be the case for Vince, for people to finally give him his flowers that he's really due and deserves.
Hmm.
I don't want him to die for him to be able to get them
For him
flowers.
to
I would
get that.
want him to
Yeah.
get it now,
I
even
really want
though
to see him have one more appearance in WWE.
I would love that
So,
too.
that would be amazing. But I hate to cut this short, man, but I got to get going.
No, no, you're
Uh,
great. You're great. I do want to tell you off the bat, thank you again so much. Again, without you, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be here today, man. Literally, you're my hero. It is a blessing to be able to have this interview with you. It is a blessing that you are such a humbling person behind the scenes. Um, Thank you so much for your time. It was a long time coming. We had some scheduling issues, but we made it
yeah,
work. Thank you for putting on for the Fight Night community, showing love and continuing to show us love. By uploading future videos and just the videos that you have in your catalog now. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's gonna be more for us to come in the future. So again, thank you,
absolutely.
thank you.
Thank you, brother. Again, I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much. You're the first person that's reached out to me to do an interview. So, I
Mm-hmm.
really appreciate you, reaching out to me and being patient with me to schedule this out. And I look forward to doing another one with you again. I think there's more for us to talk about as
Mm-hmm.
far as wrestling is concerned and fight night and other things. So,
Mm-hmm.
again, I really appreciate you, brother, and salute to you and your audience and for what you've done and for what you've built up for your channel and for the Fight Night community. So, man,
Yes.
salute to you and
Hey,
thank you so
thanks.
much,
Oh
brother. I
yeah, I'm
really
humbled.
appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a good one. Stay blessed. And to the people out there, I hope y'all enjoy this interview. This is my first time conducting an interview, and I was grateful enough to have the pioneer. So hope y'all enjoy this. We love y'all. Stay safe. We out.
Peace.
Peace. Thank y'all so much, y'all, for tuning in for this my first ever interview with LX Dark Sniper. I hope y'all enjoyed. We were able to touch bases on Fight Night, champion in general, undisputed, wrestling because people probably didn't know that he was a huge wrestling fan like I am. So yeah, it was able to be a banger. I do appreciate you again, LX. Like I said, without you, I wouldn't even be doing this today. You most definitely are my hero. It is dope to being able to get an interview with you and have a person like you be so humble and so special, man. Appreciate it. We out. Have a good night, y'all. 4 letters, 1 word, and J Uso word. We out. Peace.